It is fitting, on the day after we celebrated Martin Luther King Jr.'s life, a life devoted to social justice, that we focus on the issue of poverty in America and poverty here in Montgomery County. We are called to do so, as is so often the case, by our faith leaders, in this instance, the Catholic Church, who anointed this month as Poverty in America Awareness Month. Awareness is an indispensable predicate to action, and action is most certainly required. We did not win the war on poverty. Today, 15% of Americans live below the poverty line, and the statistics for African Americans, Hispanics, children, and our seniors are much worse. And in the midst of the affluence that has defined our great county for so many years, we too are experiencing an increase in poverty. One statistic gives us a glimpse of our challenge. The number of children living in poverty has doubled in our county in the last 10 years. Fortunately, our county is blessed to have a broad network of faith groups and nonprofits deeply committed to addressing the root causes of poverty and mitigating its devastating impact. Here with us today, we have Joanne Barnes, of course, of our county. Where's Joanne? Thank you. Chief of Children, Youth, and Family Services, Mark Burgell, the Executive Director of Wider Circle, Peter Lowett, Executive Director of Mobile Med, Leslie Graham, Executive Director of the Primary Care Coalition, Stephanie Archer-Smith, Executive Director of Meals on Wheels of Central Maryland, Todd Schenk, Executive Director of JESSA, Priscilla Fox-Morrill, Director of the Homeless Services of Interfaith Works. Our nonprofit community is committed, and so too is our county government. This council, and certainly my colleagues on the Health and Human Services Committee, we share that deep commitment. And that is good because we collectively have work to do to close the growing income divide, to provide the job skills that can lift people up, to provide the early childhood education that is a predicate to equal opportunity, to provide food for the homeless, food insecure, and housing for the homeless, and so much more. But before I read the proclamation, I want to first turn to the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee, whose commitment to these issues is unquestioned.
The time that we spend thinking about economic justice is always time well spent, and it's my great pleasure to serve with you, Roger, and with you, Craig, on the HHS committee, and with all of our colleagues who are deeply committed to make sure that the abundance and the prosperity that we enjoy in Montgomery County is widely shared universally, and that everyone who has the privilege and honor to live in Montgomery County is able to experience fully everything that this county has to offer. And thank you so much for all of these outstanding nonprofit service providers who pursue that mission every day.
Poverty is something that, as Councilmember Berliner said, unfortunately we see trending along socioeconomic lines, and oftentimes that affects many of our minority populations, much larger degree than some of our other populations here in the county. As we continue to grow as a community and we see the growth happening in those sectors, it becomes a growing problem for us, and we're starting to see a rise. And so it's important for us to recognize the challenges that we face and be real about them, to have those honest, frank conversations about the fact that we have people that on cold days like this are still living outside without homes and without meals for their children here in Montgomery County, one of the richest counties in the nation. So we be honest and frank about it so that we can help solve the problem. And so I'm just very fortunate to be serving with 8 other members here on this council who feel exactly the same way I do about this, but even more important, a greater community that's behind us that represents the people who work each and every day to fight that problem. So I just want to say thank you to them.
I first want to say that I'm really proud of our council leaders, our council members, all of the council members, for placing such a priority on people in need. You don't have to do that. You have a lot of people pulling at you to do a lot of things. So for you to make poverty a priority it's really something we all appreciate in the nonprofit sector, and it also is a lesson for us on what leadership really is, which is to put the needs of those who are in our greatest need first. It's also something I'm really proud of that we're doing this in January. I know it's when the proclamation is, but people turn to this kind of help in December. And in December, we always think about people who are in need, and we all rally around people in need. And then January comes and we all start turning our eyes to other people and other things. So I just want to thank you for keeping your eyes and our eyes fixed on those in need. And here's to doing that all year round. So thank you, and on behalf of everybody here, again, it's just a real honor. Here's the progress, right? Real progress this year.
Whereas in 2014, the official poverty rate for the United States was 14.8%, up slightly from 14.7% in 1966, after the launch of the War on Poverty by then President Lyndon Johnson. And whereas the gap between rich and poor is growing larger throughout the country, and here in Montgomery County, a county blessed with great affluence that is also experiencing growing poverty, including a doubling in the childhood poverty rate from 2005 to 2015. And whereas the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, the Catholic Campaign for Human Development, and the Catholic community in the United States pronounced Poverty in America Awareness Month in response to Pope Francis's challenge to live in solidarity with the poor. And whereas our county has been at the forefront of fighting poverty by pursuing policies that lift up the working poor and most vulnerable by raising wages and maintaining a strong safety net even during tough budget times. And whereas our effort to fight poverty must continue by, among other things, supporting job training, funding hunger relief programs, increasing our affordable housing stock, expanding the reach of medical care, and expanding affordable quality child care options. And whereas the Montgomery County Council recognizes and appreciates the tireless efforts of the many county agencies, faith-based organizations, and nonprofit organizations who work with our most vulnerable residents every day to fully realize the spirit of this month-long call to action. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Montgomery County Council hereby joins the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, the Catholic Campaign for Human Development, and the Catholic community in the United States in proclaiming January 2016 as Poverty in America Awareness Month. And be it further resolved that the County Council asks all residents to take up the spirit of this month-long commemoration and apply it year-round with the invaluable assistance of the county's faith community and nonprofit sector. Presented on this 19th day of January in the year 2016 by our Council President, Nancy Florian.